Is there anything that's really kind of got you looking at it right now? I can ask you about a whole bunch of different stocks, but why don't you tell me what you got your eye on?
Well, first, like I was just talking with the Alpha team that the S&P is like 2% off the highs, and I don't see so many names that are so special, especially in tech
Mhm.
land, that I'm like, wow, I could buy this, add to it, trade around it, and let it pay me. I feel like there's more vulnerability and just some kind of misdirection lately versus like I'm getting paid to sit in this awesome trending name. You have the
Mhm.
semis that kind of broke, so they're rebuilding, trying to prove that after a huge move like you've seen in MU and SanDisk and Intel and even not Nvidia, but can they go again? So if you want to like look at the chart of MU, it held. Like, you could say that this was probably very systematic, where some people probably bought versus the 50-day. So at least we have this good book, don't we, Ryan? Where like you do the right thing and you want to get paid, kind of like you're playing blackjack. You get an 11 versus 6. You're supposed to double down because you might get a face card. It's the right thing to do. So if you were looking to buy a dip in some of the semis yesterday, MU gave you a little reason to. From 1255 to the 50-day, the 50-day has been support. So at least that's not like, predatory. We don't want predatory moves. But then you look at SanDisk yesterday. SanDisk went out almost on the lows. It didn't really even bounce off the 50-day.
Yep.
So that wouldn't have given you much confidence to buy SanDisk actively. And then if you look, at MU's up, 48 points. And SanDisk, I could see why some people might have even went out shorted, saying, hey, these things are in a corrective phase. SanDisk went out weaker, and now it's up, 70 points, 120 points, actually, sorry. So it's like, so that you're getting these like misdirection moves that are a little hard to handle.
Yeah.
And then I have some guys who are like, Red Dog, did you see IBM? I'm like, well, people have been talking about this potentially happening in software for 3 to 6 months. That's why software has been so bad, right? Um, I don't think many traders are caught in IBM. IBM is not acting special, so that's one of the names where it's like, you never know when a pre-announcement's going to happen. But they came out, they pre-announced, and IBM is down 22%. That's all. That's a lot. You don't want to walk into that on a summer July 14th. This didn't really give you any reason to be in it, but I do know some guys that have been saying, hey, you know what, Red Dog, Microsoft's acting better. So if you look at Microsoft,
Sure has.
it's acting a little bit better, taking back the moving averages. You didn't do the wrong thing by owning a little Microsoft, trying to play a little bit of a bounce trade, and now all of a sudden you're walking in and Microsoft is down, $12. So that's not fun as a trader, walking in when it looks good, a little relative strength yesterday. So to me, it's like, it's a summer. I'm trying to figure out things to do that, want to pay me to be involved versus just day trading. But software is still very tricky. The semis are kind of trying to prove you could hold them, and it's not going into a longer rebuild phase.